Hello and welcome to another episode of Do What You Love, conversations with cool people to help you unlock your creative life. And I am so excited about my guest today because she is someone who I've known for, oh my gosh, longer than I even care to admit. It's like 15 plus years she and I have been friends. My good friend, Wendi Blum Weiss, she is an incredible coach and leader. She has developed all of these really wonderful strategies to help you live your best life, your creative life. And she is an author and a speaker. She just transforms lives. And that is really her goal in the world. She's a transformational leader and a mentor devoted to empowering you to create your best life and business by design. She actually helps you create what does it take to actually build this life that I really want to be living. She helps people break through their limiting beliefs to create an extraordinary life. So I'm so excited to introduce you to my friend Wendi. Wendi, thank you so
Woo!
much.
I love being here with you, Kate.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to have this conversation because you and we have co-created quite a few things over our friendship over the years, and I always enjoy our conversations because you have such a fresh perspective. You're one of the most optimistic people that I know. You are always coming from this place of belief that I think a lot of people lack, like belief and confidence. You're just like, yeah, we can make it happen. Like, no big deal. I'm just going to figure it out and make it happen. And that is something that I think so many people lack with the way that you work with people on their limiting beliefs. You really inspire people to live their best life. So when people ask you what you do, because you do so many things, what do you say? Like, who is Wendi and what do you do?
Well, what I'm most passionate about is helping men and women around the globe to tap into their power. I believe we all have this infinite power to unleash their gifts, their talents, and brilliance to make an impact in the world. So, whether that's being a co author in a book or speaking on stages or crafting their offers, reaching more people to change the world.
I love that. Oh, all right. So you're reaching people so that they can live their best life. And today, we're really talking about what it takes to build a creative life. So, what is your definition of a creative life? What does that mean to you?
Well, when you're in your zone of creativity, you're smiling, you're in flow, you feel aligned, you're in your confidence, you're excited, you're charged. It's like when you plug your phone in and you have the full charge in the morning. When you are in your creativity, you are fully charged, fully present, fully living, fully serving and helping the people and the clients that you work with, and everybody can feel it.
So, how do you? I feel like when I think about a creative life and just, I mean, really, it's different things to different people. But you are someone who's constantly evolved and been so creative in your journey in the business that you've had. I mean, when we first met years and years ago, you were in pharmaceutical sales, and now you're like this very transformational coach helping people live their lives. Like, that's such a what a difference that is. So how do you feel about kind of your like where you are today or versus kind of your background and how all that played out? How did that even come together? Like, how did you get into this industry?
Well, by happenstance, because, and this is something my husband says, is that he's like, I don't think I've ever met a person before that is equally left brained and right brained. And I believe that my pharmaceutical career was mainly left brain. I didn't have the freedom to express my highest creativity, right? It was very, very highly regulated. And so stepping into entrepreneurship gave me a vehicle to tap into like all the tactical pieces of the left side of the brain. To me, that's like the perfect formula for an entrepreneur, right? And then the right side into the creativity. So you get stuff done, which is why I like, can do the stuff and be productive and help people be more productive. But at the same time, it's like knowing your numbers, looking at your numbers, but also leaving wiggle room to do the things like go for a walk and personal growth and do all the reading, like all the things, so that you can be like this, like all the ingredients of a recipe that has all different flavors to it. I really do think that's the sweet spot. And that is why I love that I can live this now. And I didn't even leave in the pharmaceutical industry until I was in my 50s. So you can do it at any time.
I love that you just said that because I'm sure you work with a lot of people in midlife and older, and we sometimes feel a little stuck, right? Like it's easy to feel stuck, like, oh, I've wasted this time, or I'm not where I thought I would be in my career. So when you're working with your clients, what are some of the biggest challenges that they come to you with? Like what do they need help with and support with?
I would say like number one is really be able to step into their purpose and their monetization to find the balance where they feel the fulfillment, they're making the impact, and also they're making the income. And it's a fine balance because people get into the line of work that we're in many times because they're so passionate about it that they end up giving away a lot of their expertise. They're givers. They're givers, and we have to be open to receive, to receive, to receive as well, and to really look at the whole big picture that you can have it all, but you can't have it all like at the same time. You have to be patient and you got to plant the seeds. I think patience is really key, and take the incremental steps and keep your eye on what that end result is that you want to achieve in your life. Although we never really get there because then there's always another next level, but that you're moving the needle forward and that you celebrate it along the way.
So how do you do that? Because again, one of the things that I mentioned about you is that you're someone who absolutely you have big dreams, big goals, right? And you work with people that have big dreams, big goals, but you don't seem to ever quit on them. You don't ever seem to feel like it's not possible. Like you have this belief system that is lacking in a lot of people, right? Like we have these dreams and so we want to achieve something, and then so often people stop because they don't actually believe that they can do it for whatever reason. But that's just not you. You always figure it out. Like you've always been someone that figures it out. And so for someone that's kind of like, yeah, I've been trying or I want to get somewhere, but their mindset isn't quite matching up to that level of the dream that they have. How would you coach someone through that?
Literally is so that they can check the box with the smaller wins. Like start with what like the stretch goal is. And really just when it comes to quitting, we all want to quit. We all want to throw in the towel. We all feel like we want to give up. But I have a philosophy that I throw a pity party for myself on an average from 1 to 3 days. It's never more than 3 days. So I allow myself to indulge that, so I don't even know if I can do this until I can get the energy going. And it's really about you've got to not only like make progress in your business, but you have to know what's in your toolbox and pull out the tools. So that's the number one thing I do is I give my clients the toolbox so that they can go in and get what they need depending on what's going on in their life. And you got to figure out how you factor this into your life. I have to factor in my husband. I have to factor in the things that he wants to do. I got to factor in being a mom and having a grandson and going and spending time where he is in Atlanta. So you got to factor in life. And we have a tendency to beat ourselves up. We have a tendency to see the worst case scenario. So I always say, and this is a process and this is what I'm known for. This is the core of my coaching is reverse engineering, that you have to reverse engineer in the setbacks, in the challenges, in the obstacles, so that you can mentally dress rehearse what it feels like to feel like you're going to quit, that you're going to throw in the towel, that things are really hard. And then somehow you get yourself up again and you get moving again. And you need people You actually need physical people that you're accountable to, that actually can breathe life. That's what we do as coaches, breathe life into somebody's vision. Somebody's saying, that's what I do with my clients, like, you've got this. You've got this. Oh, I don't know how I'm going to fill this event. We can do it. I'm always like, it's teamwork. Come on, let's go. This is what we're going to do. We're going to do this and this and this and this, and you can do this. And I can show you how. I can show you some of the shortcuts to do that. And we just need to know that someone's on our team, which is why I do the co-author books. It's why I produce events and bring in lots of speakers, because having a community that is cheering you on is so important, because we can't do this stuff alone.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so true. And and when I think about just this idea of when so many people's default is I don't know how, instead of how are we going to do this? Not I don't know how to do it, but if I knew how to do it, what would that look like? And what are the steps that I need to take? And that's what you do. You're always that question that's like, okay, great. What next? Like, what else? Like, we're not going to let this stop us. So that's awesome. You co-authored books, so you've done a lot of writing throughout your whole career, but now you launched your first book this year, which is so exciting. Well, not technically your
I was
first
going
book.
to say, which one was that?
Yeah, but this was your first co-authored book.
I launched 2 and we're working on our 3rd. So we launched 2 basically in a year. These are the 2. Let's see, I can show them here. And then the 3rd one, which is called Impact Driven Entrepreneur. So yeah, so it's a community of 22 authors, 15 authors, and another 15 authors. So the community just keeps growing, all supporting each other.
So a lot of people have a dream of writing a book, and some people, they are already a writer. Some people want to write a book and they haven't really written. What is your advice for someone who's thinking about or considering like really putting in the effort to finally make that dream come true and write a book?
You need to hire somebody. You can't do it on your own, because you don't know what you don't know. So if you just sit down, even when I wrote my first book 12, 13 years ago, I hired somebody, and I actually had a hard stop deadline date. I gave myself 60 days. So what I did was I signed up for Hay House's conference, and I signed up because I was launching my book there. And I don't know, I invested like $7,000 just in the table to launch the book. So I had to hire somebody that would help me write a book in 60 days so that I could fulfill the commitment that I made to myself. I knew if I didn't push myself up against a wall, that I would procrastinate and I wouldn't do it. So I pushed myself to the nth degree of 60 days, and I got it done. And I think we need to have somebody like they were there. They knew the how. I just knew the what, they knew the how. And then I learned the how by working with them on the first book.
So with writing, now some people don't write. Some people get a ghostwriter to write. You write a
Yeah.
newsletter. You've been writing for a long time. So do you have like, what does your writing habit look like?
All right. Well, first I'm going to say that I was not a writer, and my grammar and spelling, it was just a hot mess. But I started, when I launched my business, I did a 90-day countdown to the end of the year, and I blogged about it, and it was 1 paragraph. So I wrote every day for 90 days on my blog. And that helped really kickstart my writing and my writing habit. I just picked a topic and I wrote 1 paragraph. It was literally 5 or 6 sentences. And I grew quite a substantial following because I was doing it every day. So for 90 days, I did that.
What year? What year was that?
2008, 2007, 2008. It was
This
early
is
on.
like very early on in the blogging days.
Yeah.
So how would you do that today, Wendi, if someone was kind of wanting to build, if they were like, I'm going to use that same strategy, but where would you recommend they build and blog?
Do it on social media, 90 days or 30 days. Like even writing an Instagram post or writing your post for LinkedIn, that is writing. And think about that you're writing in some sort of structure, like theme your week, theme your month, have your topics written out so that you know what you're going to talk about. The hardest part of writing is starting. The hardest part is picking up the pen and picking up the paper and then writing into something. So if you write in a calendar or in a journal, right? This is my best life journal. If you write in a journal or you write somewhere, or if you're going to write directly on one of your social media channels, I always say like write in notes first or write in Google Drive so that you can have some structure. If you write in Google Drive first and you theme it by the month or by the week, you could actually, at the end of 12 months, you could have a book. That could be the outline and the chapters and the content for your book. And what you can do is then you can use it multi-purpose, what you're using, and that is all your social media content and your future book, and can be your blog. It can be like, you can't do all these things. You'll be exhausted. No wonder people are like, this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to do all the things. You can't do all the things. You have to figure out the shortcuts. And then you got to figure out a system. But you've got to decide. You got to see the end result. You have to reverse engineer that now I have a book, that I am a best-selling author. And you have to give it enough time. Now, of course, I gave myself 60 days. I don't recommend that. That is not for the faint of heart.
You gave yourself 60 days to write the book?
Yeah, my first book.
Oh, geez.
Now, but there was a reason why it was easier for me, because I was already putting messages, just like, we talk about putting messages on social media. I was already putting the messages on t-shirts. I was writing long messages on t-shirts, my t-shirt line, which is really how I launched my business, all around the question, what is your destiny? So I started an entire clothing line. So I took all the messages from the shirts, and I had 50 different designs. And then I moved them into, and I structured it as the chapter of each book. I mean, the chapter, all the chapters in my first book. So I already had been writing, but I was writing on t-shirts. It's really not traditional, but I was writing on t-shirts.
Oh my gosh. No, that is not traditional. But that's what you do. I feel like you are someone who creates a lot. You create a lot of content.
Well, that's how it happened. In the pharmaceutical industry, I needed a creative outlet. Again, I was only left brain, sales, marketing, percentages, quotas, contests. Like, this is how my brain worked. I got to win the contest. I've got to be number one. Like, all the things. It was just the left brain. And then it was like, I got to have fun. So throughout my corporate career, I launched little side hustles. I had a gift basket business. I had all these little side hustles on the side. So I started literally making designs with a Sharpie and the squeeze paint on t-shirts. I was making my own t-shirts with squeeze paint. I was doing tie-dye. I just needed to use the creative part of my brain is what happened. And so that is how it happened. And it started to activate the writing, right? I would be sitting in spin class. Ellen Latham, the founder of Orange Theory, I'd be sitting in spin class. I would take a notebook and sit in the back spin bike. I didn't want anybody to see me writing. And I was writing the messages for the t-shirts. I was writing, I want this t-shirt. I want that t-shirt. I want this t-shirt. So I was writing the t-shirts. And the t-shirts, people were telling me that they were reading the t-shirt. A woman called me or left me an email, and she said, I have 20 or 30 of your shirts. I have them hung around my room. I go, you have them hung around your room? She goes, yeah, I get up every morning, I read them. I go, you get up every morning and read them? Wow, I think I should put them in a book. And that is really why I decided to put them in a book form. But then what happened was people started coming to me and started asking me for advice. And then because, there's all this corporate training, and now I was doing personal growth and that kind of training, that I was like really becoming seduced with entrepreneurship. I was like, okay, I really like this new creative world, and the sky is the limit, and all these things that I'm hearing about. I don't think they're cliche, because I'm actually meeting the people that are achieving all this success, and there was no ceiling. I had reached the top of my pay scale. There was no much higher I could go. That was it. I was tapped out. And then I'm hearing things like, wow, I can bust through that plateau and go to the next level, and I can do like my creative, like hobby stuff, my side hustle full time. It's like, that is just a very novel thought. So what, I felt somewhat disconnected. I thought it was kind of odd that I was like so formal and so professional, and all those things. I was like, wow, like we couldn't even be creative if like what we wore. Like I have on this lime green and all that, like back then it was like closed toe shoes and black and brown and beige and the suits and pearls. I always wore pearls. I had like 10 different sets, like the choker, the long, like I wore pearl earrings. I was ultra conservative, right? But there was a part of me that was like, all right, I'll share this one story. I saw somebody on our sales team, and I saw she had like a little open toe, like her big toe was, I go, you wear like a shoe where like it's not a closed toe shoe? She goes, yeah. And I was like, wow, she's bold. Like,
Oh my
are you
gosh.
kidding me? I was like, she's gutsy. She is one gutsy girl, like dressing
Oh
like
my
that.
gosh, that is so funny. Like what?
They're not
Oh,
as formal and not as tight about the dress code these days.
yeah.
But back in the day, it was literally, you were very, it was a white shirt, pantyhose. I mean, there was like all the stuff, right? So just to be like free, nobody's going to tell me like what I have to wear and all the things, and have to like, everybody, we kind of look the same and we kind of vibe the same. And I like variety.
Yeah. And you figured out a way to use your creativity even in the work that you were doing, and then branch it out, even if it wasn't directly related to your role, which I think a lot of people can resonate with, right? They have a career that they really enjoy, and maybe they don't want to turn their passion into a business. They just want to have an outlet to
Yes.
do something and to create something. And for a lot of people, it's that sense of they don't know how to create, and then at the level in which some people are able to create and put things out into the world, because it can be very vulnerable, right? Like you write a book, you put it out into the world, and you're like, hey, I made this thing, what do you think? Like that's a very vulnerable place to be.
Yeah.
So how do you coach people when they feel as though you deal with a lot of people that are dealing with imposter syndrome and perfectionism and all the things that we have to kind of push through in order to create something and share it with the world. So how have you become so courageous in your creative courage to create and put it out into the world?
It was scary. It took me 3 years to resign. So let me just say that. And I really had a lot of anxiety around leaving. So it was not easy. The reason why was, I just did small things that made me feel good. And of course, because I was working, I really had an income coming in. So I didn't have to rely on the thing. And the judgment around, like, how do you get past that you're being judged? That is all mindset work. You have to put your blinders on and have your why has got to be so like big and alive inside of you. And somehow like you're going to be insecure at times and feel like you're judged at times. And I know, I mean, it still happens. Like that monkey mind pops on and you're like, oh my God, what if it's not good enough? And what what are people thinking? And then you say, you know what, it's my life, I'm going to do it anyway. Because I and you do this too, you go to the end of your life, this is the last day of my life, and did I live my greatest and highest, the vision that I had for my life, or did I hold back? And it's the regrets. We hear about regrets, and I know for sure I want to live a regret free life. So I'm willing to take a chance. I've had to teach myself how to feel uncomfortable and do that thing anyway. I absolutely positively disdained. I hated when I networked for the first time, second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time. Like I walked into a room of people I didn't know, and they were like, I walked into this gigantic room. It was all women, and they were sitting in these big round banquet tables. And I was like, oh my God, everybody's going to go around and say, what do you do? And all that kind of thing. And size you up and down. You know the look, like down and up and size you up. I was so intimidated. I just wanted to hide. I didn't want to be seen. That was the theme of my life. I had a really tough upbringing, and we moved around a lot. My mom got married a lot. And so I was very insecure. And that went with me into the new career that I was creating, into entrepreneurship. But I kept pumping myself up with feel the fear and do it anyway, and do something every day that makes me feel uncomfortable, even if it meant I was going to drive down a different road that I didn't know. I mean, I looked for opportunities to make myself grow. And I think that is the key, that you just have to do something all the time. I keep an office. I go down to Miami once a week. And, my story is like Miami has so much traffic. It takes me 2 hours to get back and, get down there and to come back. And it's a big ordeal, and parking is crazy and all the things. But I'm like, I'm going to go down there because I don't want to get comfortable living in my Boca Raton bubble. I want to push the envelope. I want to be in a big city. So if I can be in Miami and drive down there and do the things, then I can be in London. And then I can be in different parts of the world. And then I can travel to South Africa. I gotta say I can do the things, right? So I can do the things, so I can walk into a room and network, and I can stand on a stage and speak to hundreds of people. I've got to be able to dress rehearse it. So I better be able to figure out how to drive myself down to Miami, even if I still have fear and trepidation that comes up. And I had to say, okay, Wendi, this is uncomfortable, and you're going to do it anyway.
Yeah. Yes. Oh gosh. Yes. We all need to push ourselves. It can be so easy to get stuck in your little bubble of your day-to-day world and life. And you're just like, yep, rolling along. Things are good. It's almost like when things are good, it's hard to make those changes, right? Because you're like, they're good. They're all right. Instead of, like I feel like when our back's up against the wall, it's kind of like we have to figure something out. But if you're like things are okay. You want them to be better, but it's almost harder when you're just kind of in that place of complacency and it's all right. So to push yourself out of that in order to really drive whatever that dream life looks like is huge. And you have to be very intentional about it. So, Wendi, what is one activity that people can do in 10 minutes or less to help them live a more creative and fulfilling life?
One thing in 10 minutes, if I had only one thing to do, it would be to anchor in your worth. I have this thing that I call my WW walk, which happens to be my initials, WW walk, which is wisdom. So I pump on, it doesn't matter if it's just 5 minutes of listening to a YouTube video or podcast. And then the next 5 minutes is walking in worth, feeling confident, embodying what it feels like to be Beyonce or Michael Jordan or the CEO of a multi-million dollar company, and to walk it and to feel it and to own it and to get fired up inside, so that you take that energy with you. But before you get started, you listen to 5 minutes of something that really pumps you up. So you get the wheels starting, and then you get out there and then you walk. So you're getting fresh air. You're getting a little bit of exercise right out of the gate. So you already have those 3 wins where you're walking, you've listened to a YouTube video, and you have walked in your worth and activated your confidence, all in 10 minutes.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And then when you do that in the morning, how do you keep it? How do you stick that throughout the whole day as things kind of come our way and we deal with challenges all day?
Oh, well, you can't just do it once, right? So I believe in taking those 90-minute breaks and going out again for a short little mini walk or jump on a trampoline or do jumping jacks in your office or do some jump squats. I think you have to get your body moving and just start to activate that again. Listen to 5 more minutes of something, do 5 minutes in your worth. You can be sitting in your chair and you can go worth, worth, worth. I am worthy. Like really tap into it. Lift your arms up. It has to do with the physiology of your body. You have to embody it. Like, so, but if we just start call after call after call after call after call, after doing, driving and meeting, we're going to deplete. So you got to program it in your phone so it pops up as a reminder and you okay, here I go. And you don't even have to do the 10 minutes. Literally, that was like 60 seconds of what I just said, right? Like own it, like feel it, like power it up, like charge it up like you're the cell phone. And then you like plug in and you feel it. And then you go, and then you move forward. And if you're really depleted, now I'd be remiss without saying that yesterday I woke up and I felt like terrible. I felt exhausted. I worked so hard the day before. I saw so many clients. And then I was like, whoa, I'm exhausted. I woke up, I was like, and I had a full day. So I was like, whoa, what am I going to do? So what did I do? I went outside. I happened to be staying in Miami overnight. I normally would not have a hot tub, but I had a hot tub. I went in the hot tub. I floated. I went under the water. I swam some laps. I went for, like, I had to really, literally, I did a ginger shot. Like, I had to get myself, I wasn't even at baseline zero. So I couldn't have listened to a podcast. I could have been like, oh, I'm worthy. Like, none of those things. I had to be like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do now? And literally it took me longer. There was no 10 minutes. Like that was a good hour and a half process. And then I was like, all right, Wendi. And then I felt better. Literally, this was yesterday. And by the way, I went to sleep feeling higher than high, than high, that high. And the thing that happened at the end of the day was just like unbelievable what happened. Like unbelievable. Like one of our co-authors actually gave somebody a car. I was there. I made it there and gifted one co-author from this book, right? She did for her 50th birthday, she did a self-care day and gave 8 women a complimentary day of self-care, massage and facials. And then somebody who's in our next book, Impact Driven Entrepreneur, owns a wellness center. So we did it there. And then he met one of the women that came and he was inspired. She has 7 children, works 2 jobs, single mom, and she didn't have transportation. So last night for his birthday, he gave her a car. So if I didn't
No way.
literally with her kids there, her kids were like they walked out with like a bow on it. Like,
That's
so
insane.
like you can
That's
go
awesome.
from, I started the day the lowest of low. Like I felt like, but this is the kind of thing that entrepreneurship, like this is like a wild ride, right? A wild ride. So you can go from here to here.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I love it. Well, Wendi, you are awesome. Where is the best place for people to find you and where can they get a copy of your books?
Well, I think you can find me everywhere. Like Wendi with an I Blum. I'm trying to show up everywhere, right? Like, how can I support and help more people? And like you, I do the things. So I'm on Instagram. So it's Wendi with an I, will pop right up, Blum. Many times you'll see Weiss now because I'm newly married, almost 5 years, but Weiss now, Wendi Blum Weiss on Instagram, and also my website. My website, you jump on my website, you get a free gift. I share these beautiful tips for creating the best life and rocking your business. So you can go on my website, and I look forward to connecting with anybody and everybody that feels inspired today.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Wendi. I always appreciate getting some time to chat with you. So thank you so much for being on the show. And I'm sure we will see each other very soon.
Kate, you're amazing. You're amazing. Can I just say this about you? Yeah, can I say this about you for a moment? You know, when you're around people that really inspire you, like us even like plugging in with each other, like you are somebody that you are that person that inspires so many people because you live your creativity and you live to help others. In your book, Do What You Love. Like I think about that all the time because I feel grateful to do what I love. But you're helping other people that don't know how to do that yet, like tap into that. And I think the work that you are doing in the world is so profound and greatly needed. So thank you so much for having me on.
Aw, thank you so much, Wendi. I love it. I love the mutual love and respect for one another. And I love that we've grown together for so long and to many, many more years of
To
that as
many, many
well.
more, to many, many more years. Thank
All
you so
right.
much for having me on.
Thank you so much.